Hello students, welcome back to my channel Maths Made Easy by Jaspreet Kaur. This is your Jaspreet teacher. In today's session, I am going to solve mathematics sample paper, mathematics standard for 10th class, which I already discussed, which I already shown in my previous video. In that video, I discussed the pattern of this sample paper for standard mathematics. And in this video, I am going to solve section 1 of part A, that is section 1. Question number 1 to 16. As we know that in part A there are two sections, section 1 and section 2. We know that in part A and part B, and in part A there are 16 questions, right? And in part A there are two sections, section 1 and section 2. And in this video I am going to solve the section 1, that is from 1 to 16 question, and each carry 1 marks. And in section 2 there are 4 questions, that is a case study question. And under each question there are 5 subparts. Right, and you have to solve only 4 out of 5. And here in section 1 there are 16 questions in which 5 are internal choices, 5 questions in which there are internal choices. So let's start our first section, that is section 1 of part A, right? So in this question, in first question, it is given if xy is 180 degree and HCF of x and y is 3, then you have to find the LCM of xy. Xy are two numbers. We know that very simple formula. It is very simple question. So in which two numbers are product of two numbers is given, HCF is given, and you have to find third term, that is LCM. Okay, so for that you should know the formula first. We'll write the formula here. That is, we know that HCF of, we'll write the formula here, HCF of x and y is equals to, into, we'll write the formula first, HCF of x and y into LCM of x and y is equals to what? Product of two numbers, that is x into y. Okay, so we are given with 3 terms. We are given this one. Sometimes only x is given and y is given, and one term of this HCF and LCM is given. And here what is given? One term HCF is given, and that product of these two terms together they give the product. So we'll substitute the values and we'll find the LCM. So HCF is 3 into LCM we have to find, and XY is what? XY is 180. Okay, then LCM is what? LCM is equal to 180 divided by 3, that is 60. So your LCM of x and y is 60. As we know that XY product is 180 and HCF of x and y is 3, right? And LCM you have to find, this we have to find. Then we'll write the formula first. If you will write up to this only, you will get half mark. So if you will solve full, then you will get full marks, that is 1 mark. Okay, so HCF into LCM is equals to product of two numbers, and as we know the product, that is 180 only, then HCF is 3, then LCM is what? 180 by 3, 3 comes down and it is 60. 3, 6, 13, and we got 60 here. Okay, so this is our final answer, right? Come to our second question now. That is, what is the second question? Or option is there. So you can choose any one which you know better. So the decimal representation of this number will terminate after how many decimal places? So in this, what you have to find? You have to find the decimal representation will terminate after how many decimal places. So for this question, we know that any number, if any function is given, let x is equal to p upon q form, we'll write here, we have to find we are given with that x is equals to 1, 4, 5, 8, 7 divided by 2 raised to power 1 into 5 raised to power 4. So we have to find the decimal representation of this number will terminate after how many decimal places. So for that, first of all, we have to compare it with, it should be in the form of p upon q form. So it is in the form of p upon q form, and we know that if x is p upon q form, be the rational number such that the prime factorization of q, that is in this form, prime factorization of q should be in the form of 2 raised to power n and 5 raised to power m, where n and m are the non-negative integers, right? Then x has a decimal expansion which terminates. So now it is in the form of 2 into 5 raised to power 2 raised to power n and 5 raised to power m. So for that we have to make it terminate. What we have to do, we have to make the power same. So what we'll do, we'll multiply with, if we have to find out, then we'll multiply 2 raised to power 3 to make the power 4, and 2 raised to power 3 will divide. But here only the question is that this number will terminate after how many decimal places. As we know that the maximum power is 4, right? So power 4 means m is 4, maximum power is 4. So we can say that the given number is this one. In denominator, the maximum power is 4. In denominator, maximum power is 4. So number will terminated. So number will terminated after 4 decimal places. After 4 decimal places, right? So which one is your maximum power? That number will terminate after that decimal place. Okay, if it is not like that, we have to make it. Okay, this is your OR part. OR wala part hai ye, first OR. Now we'll come to the second question. Our second question is, if the sum of the zeros of the quadratic polynomial, this one, is 3, then find the value of k. So here what is given? Sum of the zeros is given. Sum of the zero of the quadratic polynomial, this one, is given 3. Then find the value of k. So let alpha and beta are zeros of given equation. Okay. So if alpha and beta are the zeros, then what sum of the zeros is given? Then we can say that alpha plus beta is given. That is 3. This is given, right? Sum of the zeros of quadratic polynomial, this one is 3. If alpha and beta are the zeros, then we can say sum of the roots is alpha plus beta, that is 3. Then find the value of k. So now we can write first equation, that is 3x square minus kx plus 6. This is the equation, quadratic polynomial. Not quadratic equation, there is a difference. If this equation will be equal to 0, then it will be a quadratic equation. Now it is a quadratic polynomial. This is the difference between both quadratic polynomial and quadratic equation. So here we are given with quadratic polynomial, and we are given with, if alpha and beta are the zeros, then sum of the roots is 3. This is given, right? Then find the value of the k. So first of all, we'll write the sum of the roots from equation. Here is 3, it's given. And what are the sum of the roots from equation? That is sum of the roots, alpha plus beta, that is minus b upon a. What is minus b? Minus b upon a. What is your b? B is minus k. Minus k upon what is a? A is 3. Okay, so minus minus cancel, that is equals to k by 3. And we know that alpha plus beta is what? 3. So we can substitute the value here, 3. So what is given? This implies k upon 3 is equals to 3, and k is what? 3 3s are 9. So for what value of k? The given sum of the zeros of the quadratic polynomial is 3. We have to find the value of k. So k is 9. Got it? How we got? First of all, write the equation. Whatever the condition is given, write that one. The condition is that the sum of the zeros, that is 3. And we'll compare this sum with our equation. This one. We'll find the sum from the equation, that is minus b upon a. And you are already given, that is minus b is what? B. B is minus k. So we'll substitute, minus minus cancel, we'll get value of k. Right? So this was our second question. Now we'll come to the third question. Very simple, huh? Then third is what? For what value of k, the pair of linear equation, this one and this one, does not have a solution. Now you are given with two pair of linear equation, and condition is what? Have no solution. So no solution, when will be the solution equation have a no solution? When lines are parallel, then the equation have no solution. Lines are parallel only if their coefficients like a1 upon a2, b1 upon b2 and c1 upon c2. This condition holds. Then we can say that pair of linear equation have no solution. If this condition holds, then pair of linear equation have no solution. Then we can say like that. Okay. Now we are given with two equations, 3x plus y is equals to 3, 6x plus 6y is equals to 6x plus ky is equals to 8. Does not have a solution. Does not have a solution. So when the equations have no solution, when they are parallel. So no solution condition is what? a1 upon a2 is equals to b1 upon b2 is not equal to c1 upon c2. This is a no solution condition. Means what? The two pair of linear equation is inconsistent or inconsistent pair of equations there. Okay, and the lines will be parallel. Okay, so there are three conditions. If all these three are equal, both are equal, then they have the infinite many solution. If both are not equal, then unique solution. If one is equal and one is not equal, they have no solution. This is a very easy way to remember. Okay, so here condition is what? No solution. So we'll put this condition and we'll compare it with the equations. We can write what is your a. Your a1 is 3, your a2 is 6, right? Your b1 is 1, your b2 is what? K. Okay, your c1 is 3, and your c2 is 8. You can shift this c1 constant term this side also, that is minus 3. Then you have to shift both terms, this one and this one. If you are taking it out, if you are taking it from equal side, that side, then take both. Okay, otherwise if you want to shift this left side, then shift both left side. Otherwise it is okay like that only. The difference is not there, both are same. So a1 is this one, b1 we'll write here, and c1 is 3 by 8. So now we'll substitute this value in the condition. So we'll get 3 upon 6 is equals to b1 upon b2, that is 1 upon k, is equals to c1 upon c2, that is 3 upon 8. And this condition is not equal to. So here we have to find the value of k. So we'll go with only this condition. As we know that 3 1s are 3 and 3 2s are 6. So by cross multiply, what we got? K is equals to 2. So for k, that is 2, this is the value for equation. For what value of k? K is equals to 2. The given pair of linear equation have no solution. Okay. If we'll take these two, then for that value k does not exist. So that's why we are not taking this value only. We are going with only first two cases. Right. So this type of questions may come in your first section for part A, 1 to 16, and each question is getting 1 mark. So it will be very simple question. Only formula based question will be there. Okay. So now your fourth question. If 3 chairs, 1 table cost rupees 1500, 6 chairs, 1 table cost rupees 2400, form a linear equation to represent this situation. Only you have to make the equation in this question. Then it will be a 1 mark. Same question may come in 2 mark also, but condition may different. They may ask like that, if 3 chairs, 1 table cost this one, 6 chair and 1 table cost 2400, then you have to find the cost of 1 chair and 1 table. Means what? First you have to form the equation, then you have to find the value of x and y. That type of question may come in 2 marks. Okay, and one more thing, they can solve by which particular method. Okay, then it will be of 3 marks. Like that, marks will be increasing. Okay, so here only we have to write the form of equation. So if I am saying that 3 chairs and 1 table cost is 1. If I am saying if 1 chair cost x and 1 table cost y, then what? Then what type of condition will be there? We'll write here. If 3 chairs and 1 table cost, I am writing if 1 chair cost x, then what will be the cost of 3 chair? 3x. Okay. If 1 table cost y, what will be the cost of then 1 table? Then it is again y. Now together what? 3 chairs and 1 table cost rupees 1500. So it will be like that. Okay. And if 1 table cost and 6 chair cost, again 6 chair means 6x and 1 table means 1y. Okay, 6 chair, 1 table. Then total cost is 2400. So before this we have to write it here. First, let cost of 1 chair, that is x rupees. Then that's why it comes here 3x. Then cost of 3 chair, 3x. Same here, cost of 1 table, that is what, y rupees. That's why it comes here. Here only condition is one table, so we'll write it only y. So together it will be 3x plus y is 1500, and then 6x is what, 6 chairs. So 6x plus 1 table, y, cost 2400. So this type of equations may come in the first, in 1 mark only. You have to represent, you have to form equation, and then you have to write up to here only. If you have to write again, you have to find then cost for each chair and table, then you have to solve these two equations by any method, by elimination method, by cross, any method, which one you like most. If they mention, then you have to follow only that. So you should know all the methods, right? Now question number 5. So here, which term of an AP is 0? Our question is, which term of an AP is 0? So here is given which term. So which term we don't know. Here is only 3 terms are given. So we'll suppose that let nth term, nth means an, nth term is 0. This is given. Which term of an AP? This is 0. Let nth term is 0. An means nth term. Nth term. This is 0. So what is A? A is here this first term, that is 27. Then A1 is, my A1 is 27. A1 means first term. A2 means second. A3 means third term. We don't know how many terms are there. That we have to find. Which term? That is nth term, An. And we know that the some nth term formula is what? Nth term is An is what? A plus n minus 1 into D. We know this formula. So here first of all we have to find D. D is what? Common difference. That is 24, A2 minus A1. That is 24 minus 27. That is minus 3. Okay. So this we have to find first. Then we have to write nth term. Now we know your A is 27. Your D is minus 3. So we'll substitute these values in nth term. What is your nth term? Your nth term is An is A plus n minus 1 into D. And that is 0. Because it is given in question, which term of an AP is 0? We are saying nth term of an AP is 0. So nth term means what? An is 0. A plus n minus 1 is 0. So what is your A? 27. Will substitute values here. 27 plus n you have to find out. N minus 1. D is what? Minus 3. Second term minus first term. 24 minus 7. That is 3. Minus 3. So this will equal to 0. So here 27 will go that side. So n minus 1 into 3. Minus 3 is what? 27 will come this side. It will become minus 27. Then we'll divide this 27 by 3. So we'll get n minus 1 is equals to minus 27 divided by minus 3. So we'll get 9. Negative sign will cancel out. And n is what? This implies n is what? N minus 1 is 9. So n is 1 plus 9, that is 10. So your 10th term will be 0. Then you will write term wise A1, A2, A3 like here. It is going decreasing now, like A1 is 27, A2 is 24, A3 is 21. Then again subtract 3. Then you will get up to last, the 10th term, it will be 0. Okay. So your 10th term is 0. So we have to find n here. So very simple. Only formula you should know. If you know the formula, then you can solve the question. If you don't know formula, then okay, you know. So if you will write up to here only, you will get half mark, right? So don't leave any question. At least write formula. If you don't know about anything about that question, don't leave it. Just write something like formula at least without leaving it blank. So now it's OR part. OR is in an arithmetic expression progression. We know that in an arithmetic progression, If D is minus 4, N is 7, AN is 4, then find the value of A. Again AN is given, that is 4. So we will write here. Here I am doing same question or wala part, right? So if D is, your D is minus 4 and N is 7. Now N is given and AN is 4. We have to find the value of A. A you have to find out. D is minus 4, N is 7, AN is 4. Now whatever is given, we'll start it from there. We'll substitute a formula for that only. So what is given? AN is given, that is 4. Okay, we'll substitute a formula for that term only. AN is what? AN means N minus 1 A plus N minus 1 into D. Nth term formula. A plus N minus 1 into D is what? 4. Right? So your A is, we'll substitute all the values. A we have to find out, so we'll substitute A here only. Plus N is what? N is 7 minus 1 into D. D is what? Minus 4. And this full expression is equals to 4 because AN is 4 given. So we substitute here all values. So it is A plus 7 minus 1, 6. 6 into 4, 24. So it will be minus 24 is what? 4. Okay. 7 minus 1 is 6. 6 into 4, 6 4s are 24. It's minus 24 as 4 is negative. Now expression is A plus minus 24 is 4. So 24 will go that side. So A will be 24 plus 4, that is 28. 24 will go that side and it will become positive. 24 plus 4, that is 28. So what is your first term? Your first term is 28. Okay. Your first term is 28. So that you have to find out. In an expression, arithmetic AP series, if D is this one, N is this one, AN is 4, then find the value of A. We got A, 28. Right. Now come to the next question. That is, for what value of K, the equation this has equal roots. For what value of K, equation this one has equal roots. Here we can find out. Okay. Question number 6. For what value of K, equation this one has real roots. First of all, we'll write the equation. 9x square plus 6kx plus 4 has equal roots. This is the equation. 9x square plus 6kx plus 4 is equals to 0. So what is the question? For what value of K, equation this one has equal roots. So this is your equation, equal roots. When the equation have equal roots? When its D is 0. So this is your quadratic equation now, because it is equals to 0, not quadratic polynomial. This is a quadratic equation because this equation is in second degree form and is equal to 0. And question is, for what value of K, the equation is this one. So for what value of K, equation has equal roots? When the quadratic equation have equal roots? When the D is equals to 0. If D is equals to 0, then equation has equal roots. So what is D? Your D is B square minus 4AC should be equal to 0. If this one is equal to 0, if B square minus 4 is 0, that is D is 0, then the equation have equal roots. So we have to write it here first. Your A is 9, your B is 6k coefficient of x, and your C is constant term, that is 4. Your A is what? Coefficient of x square. So we'll substitute all these values in this formula, that is B square minus 4AC. D is what? Discriminant, and its formula is B square minus 4AC. So B square means 6k square. 6k we'll substitute here and we'll take the square of that. And minus 4A, A is 9 and C is what? 4, and it will be equal to 0. So now this is 36k square minus, this is what? 4 4s are 16 and 16 9s are, you can multiply, 144. We'll find out here. Okay, 36 4 are 144, right? So here we'll write it. If you know, you can put directly, otherwise don't take risk, multiply. Okay, 4 9s are 36 and 36 4s are 144. So this is equal to 0. So here it's a perfect square. Okay, so what we'll get, 36k square is what, 144, and then k square is what, 144 divided by 36. Okay, if you can cancel this, you can. In which table both numbers are coming, just check it out. We'll write it here. First, compare the equation with the coefficients. Your d is b square minus 4ac, your a is 9, b is 6k, and c is 4. And then b square, that is 6k square minus 4ac. Okay, that should be 0. 36k square is 144, and then 36k square is what? 144, and k square is what? 144 by 36. And what is k? Then k will be plus minus root of 144 upon 36. Okay, square root. Then it will be 12 upon 6. Right? And you can see that 2. 144 is the square root of 12. And 36 is the square root of 6. And then 12 by 6 is what? 2. So k will be plus minus 2. Okay, you can cancel it here also, as we know that 36 4s are 144. You can cancel it here also. Then you can take square root. Anything you can do. So for what value of k, the equation has equal roots? For plus minus 2. It means equal root. Both are equal. Both values are same, 2 and 2. So for that we can say that d is 0. Okay. So again, I can tell you one more thing. When real roots are only if when d is negative. Okay. If your d is negative, no real roots. If d is positive, it's real root, and if d is 0, it's equal roots. Okay. So this was your 6th question. Now come to the 7th one. That is, find the root of the equation. And equation is what? X square plus 7x plus 10 is equals to 0. This is the equation is given. X square plus 7x plus 10. It's a very simple question. Now just we have to separate it. Okay. So what is given? X square plus 7x plus 10 is 0. For this type of question, a quadratic equation, you have to find the roots. So you have to separate this term. This is what? Constant term into coefficient of x square. Coefficient of x square is 1. Okay. So 10 into 1 is 10. So sum of the roots, let x and y, alpha and beta are the sum of the roots. Okay. Then zeros, or you can say that the zeros of the equation. So a product we know product should be 10. We will choose two numbers whose product should be 10 and whose sum should be 7. So we have to choose two numbers. We have to separate this equation. We have to choose two numbers whose product should be plus 10. Okay, and whose sum should be plus 7. So what will be the two numbers which we will multiply? So 5 and 2. So if we will multiply 5 and 2, 5 to the 10, we'll get 10 plus. If we'll take 5 and 2, we'll add it. So x square plus 5x plus 2x plus 10 is equals to 0. Then x, this side, x plus 5 plus 2x plus 5 is equals to 0. Then x plus 5 will take this side. Then x plus 2 this side. These both should be equal. Then your answer will be right. Otherwise it will be wrong. You can check it. Both factors should be same. When you are taking one thing common, here both factors should be same. So x plus 5 and x plus 2. These two are the factors of this one. X square plus 7x plus 0. This was the question. Find the roots of the equation. So we have to find the roots because it is equal to 0. So product of these two is 0. Then either this is 0 or x plus 2 will be 0. Okay, if both are 0, product of this and this is 0, then either this will be 0 or this one will be 0. If this is 0, then we'll get x is equals to minus 5. If this is 0, we'll get x is equals to minus 2. So these two are the zeros, minus 5 and minus 2. Okay, because multiply will do, if we will multiply 5 2s are 10, we'll get plus 10. If we'll add minus 7. So x is minus 5 and minus 2. These two are the factors of this equation. Now come to next question. Your next question is, for what value of quadratic equation, or part of question number 7, that is, for what value of quadratic equation 30ax square, we'll write it here, 30a x square, 30ax square minus 6x plus 1 is equal to 0 has no real roots. For what value of quadratic equation 30ax square minus 6x plus 1 is equal to 0 has no real roots. Now condition for no real roots is what? So we should know first a condition for no real roots, or you can say that no non-real roots, one and same thing. So when d is less than 0, then the condition is no real roots. This is the condition. 0 is less than 0. D is less than 0. Means what? Discriminant should be less than 0. Or we know that roots will be minus b plus minus root d upon 2a. This is the value for our roots. So for that, now condition is non-real roots, means d should be negative. So if d is negative in a root, then means what? D is negative means d minus. Then root negative is what? Iota. It will be in the iota form. And iota form root means what? It's the imaginary roots. So that is a non-real roots. So for that, d is less than 0 means what? Your discriminant is 0. That is b square minus 4ac is 0, less than 0. So your b is what? Minus 6. We'll substitute the values here now. Minus 6 square minus 4. A is what? 30a. And c is what? 1 is less than 0. So this is your a, 30a. Okay. And this is b. Coefficient of x is b. That is minus 6. And constant is c. So we'll substitute the values here. So here we got 36 minus 4 3s are 12. That is 120a is less than 0. So we'll shift 120 that side. 36 is less than 120a. So what will be the value of a? 36 divided by 120. So we'll cancel it with table of 3 or 4. You can say that 4 9s are 36, 4 3s are, so 30 we'll get. Or you can say that now 3 3s are 9, 3 10s are 30. So we got, so what we got, 3 by 10 is less than a. Or you can say that the value of a is greater than 3 by 10. So for that value, the given equation, quadratic equation, has no real roots. So a should be greater than 3 by 10. Okay. So whenever any condition is given, you should know that formula, that condition. Then you can solve question easily. And if you don't know, you can't solve full question, at least write the condition. At least write formula so that you can get half mark instead of getting 0. Don't leave it blank. It is better if you will solve it full. Then it is very good. If unless until you don't know anything about that, but at least write something. Don't leave it blank. Okay, then you will get some marks instead of getting 0. Now come to our 8th question. That is, if PQ is 28 centimeter. Let this is a P. Write it again. P. Here is Q point. Here is point T. This is my point L. And here is point N. And this one is point M. This is point L. Now we know that length of tangent from external point to the circle are equal. Okay. From any external point, the length of tangent to at the point of the circle are equal. So what we can say that, where PQ, we can say here PQ and PT are length of tangent to circle. Okay, then PQ will be equal to PT. Equal tangent, you can say that. This is the external point. These are 2 points on the circle, Q and T. So then PQ and PT will be equal. So here it will be 28, as we know that PQ is 28. So both will be 28 centimeter. Right. So now we have to find the perimeter of triangle PLM. We have to find perimeter of triangle PLM. Which triangle? This one, PLM. So what is the perimeter? Perimeter of any triangle, any figure is what? Sum of all the sides. That is PL plus LM plus PM. This is a perimeter. We have to find this one. Okay. So this is what we can write. We can write this PL is PL only, and then LM. LM is what? LN plus NM. We can separate this LN plus NM plus this PM. Okay. Now I can write LN in place of LN, LQ. Why I am writing this? I'll explain after this. So in place of NM, I am writing MT. Okay, plus PM. Because children, this is again L is the external point and this Q is a point on the circle, and here LN and LQ are the equal tangent from external point L to the point L and N. So that L and N are the equal tangent. We can say that because LQ, why I am writing LQ in place of LN here and MT in place of NM, because equal tangents to the circle. Okay, and length of tangents are equal from external point to the circle. So if I am writing this PQ and PT are equal, then this same theory, same property I am applying here. So LM or LQ will also be equal. So now if we'll take this together, PL and LQ, PL plus LQ, this full, that is 28. It is given 28 centimeter. So I can write this PQ. Okay, in place of PL plus LQ, I am taking together, then it will become PQ. Same here, PM plus MT, it will become PT. PM plus MT, it will become PT. And this is given 28 plus 28, together it will be 56 centimeter. Okay, so these units are very important. Don't forget to write unit. If units are very important, if you will not write unit, you will lose your half mark. Okay, so always write units after that. Now come to 9th question. If two tangents are inclined at 60 degree, are drawn to circle of radius 3 centimeter, then find the length of each tangent. What we have, if two tangents are inclined at 60 degree, are drawn to circle of radius 3 centimeter. So we'll draw here. If we have, see, we have one circle, and if two tangents are drawn, here we'll draw one tangent and here one more tangent. Okay, let it be a P. Here is a point Q, here is point R, right? And this is my center of a circle, and this is radius, this is also radius. Okay, so OQ and OR both are equal. OQ is equals to OR, both are radius of a circle. And this PQ, question number 9, PQ is equal to PR because length of tangents are equal. Okay, from external point of the circle at 2 points. Then we can say that PQ and PR are the tangents to circle. Okay, what we have to prove, and this both tangents are inclined at angle 60 degree. So this angle is 60 degree. Then find the length of each tangent. This length you have to find out. You have to find out PQ or PR. If we will find one PQ, the other will also be same, because both the length are same. Both are equal tangent from the external point to the circle. Okay. So now what we'll do, we'll join this PO. And we know that this radius is perpendicular to tangent. As we know that we can say that OQ perpendicular to PQ and OR perpendicular to PR. As we know that radius is always perpendicular to tangent. Okay, radius is always perpendicular to tangent of the circle. Okay, so this angle is 90 degree and this angle is also 90 degree. You can say that angle 1 and angle 2 is 90 degree. Angle 1 is equals to angle 2 is equals to 90 degree. So we have to find these two sides, right? So for that, first of all, we have to make these two triangles congruent. If we'll make these two triangles congruent, then we can find these two angles, angle 3 and angle 4. Okay, so first of all, we'll take in triangle OPQ and OPR, triangle OPR, right? So in triangle OPQ and OPR, what is given? Angle, you can say that angle Q is equals to angle R or angle 1. This one is angle 1. Angle 1 is equals to angle 2 is equals to 90 degree as radius is perpendicular to tangent. We already explained. And then OP is equals to OP, common side, right? And third one is this one, equal tangents. So PQ is equals to PR, equal tangents. So all three parts are equal. This side, this angle and this side. Then which criteria? That's a right hand side. So therefore, triangle OPQ is congruent to triangle OPR by RHS. Okay. Now if two triangles are congruent, then what? Then by CPCT, their remaining parts will be equal. So this implies angle 3 is equals to angle 4, which is equals to 30 degree, because this full angle QPR is 60. So if we are joining this PO, so these two angles of the triangle are equal. So it will be 30 degree. Or you can say that CPCT, that is corresponding part of congruent triangle. Okay, so now we are using this part, angle 3 is equals to angle 4, that is a 30 degree. Okay, now in triangle, here we'll write in triangle OPQ, or you can say that OQP. We'll apply trigonometric ratio now. If we know one side and one angle in any triangle, then you can apply that trigonometry, right? So now in this, we know this is my base angle. So this is the angle here. This angle is 90 degrees. So obviously this one is a hypotenuse. OP is a hypotenuse. So then this one and this one. This is then closest side to the base. This one is a base then. This angle, closest side to the angle is base, and OQ will be the perpendicular. Then in triangle OPQ, tan will apply tan 30 degree is equals to what? What is the formula for tan? That is perpendicular upon base. Your perpendicular is what? OQ. Okay. And your base is PQ. Right. So P upon B. Your P is OQ and base is this angle. I am taking this angle. So this one is base and this one is perpendicular. So PQ will write it here. Now we know one side. And what is the value of tan 30? Tan 30 is 1 by root 3. So 1 by root 3 is what? 3. We know OQ is 3. That is radius. Here we know that it is given. OQ is equals to OR is equals to 3 centimeter. That is radius. So we'll put this value here. And PQ we have to find. After cross multiply, we'll get PQ is equals to what? PQ is equals to cross multiply 3 root 3. So this is your final answer. So PQ is what? After cross multiply 3 root 3 centimeter. Okay. So if PQ is 3 root 3, and we can say that PQ is equals to PR, both are the equal tangent. So both will be 3 root 3 centimeter. This is the value of tangent. So by this you can find the value of PQ and PR. Okay. So this was the 9th question, first part. Now come to the OR part. Now, what is the question? If PQ is tangent to a circle, again we have one PQ is tangent to a circle with center O at a point P. I'll make a diagram here. PQ is tangent to a circle with center O. Now I have one circle and here is one point that is center of a circle, and here is, if PQ is a tangent to a circle, then triangle OPQ is an isosceles triangle, and then find OQP. Then here is P, here is Q, will join this one. This is the radius of a circle. Okay, this is the radius, as we know that radius is perpendicular. Okay, so this will be 90 degree and this will be hypotenuse, and one is base, one is perpendicular. So this will be the diagram. Now we'll make it here. We are given with one circle is here, one tangent, we'll draw it here. Here we have one point center and with center O, and we'll join this point. Here is point P, here will be point Q. Okay, so what you have to find? You have to find angle OQP. OQP, this angle you have to find. Angle OQP we have to find out, and we know that OP is a radius. Okay, here we'll write OP is equals to radius, and we know that radius is perpendicular to tangent. Okay, radius is always perpendicular to tangent PQ. Okay, drawn from external point to at any point of the circle. So if this radius is perpendicular to PQ, then we can say that angle OPQ is 90 degree. Now as it is mentioned in question, that I'll show, it is given that triangle OPQ is an isosceles triangle. Now if triangle OPQ is an isosceles triangle OPQ, then two sides will be equal. See, if these two sides, now I am taking this angle is 90 degrees, so this one is my hypotenuse. OQ is hypotenuse. So remaining two sides is one, OP and PQ. So OP and PQ will be equal because it is isosceles triangle. Now if two sides are equal, then opposite angles will be equal. So opposite angle of this side OP is this one, angle 1, and opposite angle for PQ will be angle 2. So these both will be equal. So here we can write angle 1 is equals to angle 2. And you can write the reason here as opposite angle of equal sides of a triangle are equal. Okay, so both angles are equal. Now we can take in triangle OPQ, angle 1 plus angle 2 plus angle OPQ. OPQ is equals to 180 degree. Okay, we have less space, so that's why. So this is by angle sum property, you can say that. Angle 1 plus angle 2 plus angle OPQ is 180 degree. We know angle 1 and angle 2 are equal. So 2 times of angle 1 plus OPQ is 90 degree is equals to 180 degree. So 2 times of angle 1 is equals to 180 minus 90, that is 90 degree. Okay, so here we'll write here. So 2 angle 1 is equals to 90 degree, and then angle 1 will be equal to, angle 1 is equals to 90 divided by 2, that is 45 degree. Right, so we are given with angle 1 is 45. Angle 1 is what? OQP. This you have to find out. OQP. Okay, so I'll show you here. So we got now this angle. Here we said angle 1 or angle 2 are equal, as the triangle is, because triangle OPQ is isosceles triangle, is an isosceles triangle. So now we got angle 1 45 degree. So angle 2 will also be equal to 45 degree. And you have to find angle OQP, this angle. So okay, so we find out angle OQP, that is angle 2 is equals to angle 1, that is 45 degree. So we completed our question number 2. Completed. Now come to 10th question. In triangle ABC, D and E are the points on side AB and AC respectively, such that DE is parallel to BC. So we'll make here we are making one triangle. In triangle ABC, D and E are the points on side AB and AC. This is your triangle ABC. D and E are the points on side AB and AC such that DE is parallel to BC. This DE is parallel to BC. If AE is 2 centimeter, this one is 2 centimeter, and AD is 3 centimeter, and BD is 4.5 centimeter, then find CE. This side you have to find. Now children, what is this? Which theorem is this one? From diagram we can judge it. This, if DE is parallel to, if one side is parallel to other side and divides other two sides into distinct point, then the ratio of two sides will be equal. This is what BPT theorem. So by BPT, basic proportionality theorem, ratio of sides will be equal. That is AD upon DB will be equal to AE upon EC. Got it? AD upon DB will be equal to AE upon EC by basic proportionality theorem, because one side is parallel to other side and divides other two sides in same ratio. So now nothing is there. We'll substitute values. So AD is what? 3 centimeter. Then DB is what? 4.5 is equals to AE2 and EC you have to find out. Okay, so by cross multiply you have to find EC will shift it here, and 3 will come down and 4 point will come up. So it will be EC is equals to, by cross multiplying, 2 into 4.5 upon 2 into 4.5 upon 3. So this will cut by this one, 1.5, and 1.5 into 2 is what? 3.0. Okay, so 3.0 centimeter is the EC. So EC is what? 3.0, or you can say that 3 centimeter. Got it? This is by BPT theorem. Very easy. You know, if you know the theorem, then you can apply that formula of theorem by that property. Okay, you should know that if one line is parallel to the other line and divides the other two sides in same ratio, then that sides will be divided in the same ratio. Then that is by 3 sides is given, 4 side you can find out by that ratio. So this is the BPT theorem. So very important to remember statement also and results also. Now come to the question number 11, some construction. In figure, if B1, B2, B3 and up to so on B5 and A1, A2, A3 have been marked at equal distance, in what ratio C divides AB? So this is your AB. We have to find in what ratio this AC, this point C divides AB. So children, here is there are two methods. One is this one, we are joining these external points, this one. So this is this you can see from your book, construction number 1 and 2. Both methods are given. Here what is given? Here last point of B is joining with this last point of this. So here we have 8 points and here we have 5 points. Okay, so this ratio 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this AC is this bigger part. Bigger part is this, cuts AB at point this 8. So it will be 8 ratio, 8 is 2. And here which point is there? This is 0.5 number. So this ratio. So your answer will be 8 is to 5. Okay. Why I am taking 8 first? Because your bigger side will come first. So this ratio is ratio C divides AB in ratio 8 is to 5. Got it? So now come to the question number 12. If sin A plus cos B is 1, A is 30 degree and B is an acute angle, find the value of B. So here we'll write question number 12. That is, if sin A plus cos B is 1 and your angle A is given, that is 30 degree, then and B is an acute angle, find the value of B. Find value of B. Okay, so what is given? Your angle is given 30. So we'll substitute angle 30. So we know that sin 30, cos B is not given. We have to find the value of B. So we'll write it like that only. So sin 30 is what? Sin 30 is what? 1 by 2. So 1 by 2 plus cos B is 1. We'll shift 1 by 2 that side. So we'll get cos B is what? 1 minus 1 by 2. That is, we'll take LCM. 2 minus 1, that is 1 by 2 again. So here cos B is 1 by 2. So 1 by 2, at what angle? This 1 by 2 of cos, that is cos 60 degree. Cos 60, cos B is 1 by cos 60 is what? 1 by 2. So both values are same. We can write in the value of angle. So cos cancel. So B is what? 60 degree. Acute angle. In question it is given the B is acute angle. So from here you can see your answer is right. And B is an acute angle. 60 is what? Acute angle. Okay. So this is your 12th question. So this type of simple question will come of that carry 1 mark each. Okay children. Come to the question number 13. That is, if x is 2 sine square, y is 2 cos square plus 1, then find x plus y. Again, very simple. We have to add x plus y. We have what? We have to find x plus y. Okay, so we'll substitute values. What is x? X is 2 sine square theta. And what is y? Y, it is given in your question. X is 2 sine square theta. Y is what? 2 cos square theta plus 1. So we'll add it. So this is 2 sine square, this is 2 cos square. We'll take 2 common. So sine square theta plus cos square theta plus 1. And this is what? This is identity. And we know that sine square theta plus cos square theta is 1. So 2 into 1 plus 1, that is 2 plus 1, that is 3. Got it? Why this is the identity. You have to remember this. Sine square plus cos square theta is 1. You can substitute value direct here if you know the identity. So for that you can watch my video. I will keep that link in this video. Super hexagon. By that you can remember all the identities. No need to memorize, no need to cram any identity. Just give one look on that super hexagon. I uploaded one video for that also, and I'll give link of that video in this. Okay, so you can watch that also. Before doing any trigonometric ratio, any trigonometric questions, you can just look that value, that video. Now come to the question number. So this is your x plus y. What is x plus y? That is 3. Okay, by substituting values. Very simple. Now come to question number 14. So question number 14 is what? In a circle of diameter 42 cm, if an arc subtends an angle of 60 degree at the center in a circle of diameter 40. First of all, we'll make one circle in which O is a center and radius. Here diameter is given, that is 42 cm. If D is given, what is? See this children, this is a circle and this is a diameter. What is the radius? Radius is the half of the diameter. So your R will be D by 2, that is 42 by 2, that is 21 centimeter. Okay, right? So here O is a radius. Here I am taking point A and B. This arc AB. What is the question? In a circle of diameter 42 centimeter, if an arc subtends an angle 60 degree. Here this angle is 60 degree. At the center where pi is 22 by 7, then what will be the length of arc? This length of arc you have to find. So there is a one formula for length of arc. Length of arc is what? Theta by 360 degree into 2 pi r. That is a circumference, you can say that. Okay. So this full is a length of arc. So this angle is subtended by that arc. So we'll take that angle, and 2 pi r the circumference. So this is the length of arc. If you are given with the area of the circuit sector, okay, then you can substitute the value of one is a length of arc and one is area of sector. Then that for here we'll substitute pi r square. So these two are the main formulas that you have to remember. Okay, either maybe this will come or maybe that will come. Both are based upon the formulas. Okay, so you have to remember these formulas first. So now substitute the values. We know the angle. Angle is 60 degree. 60 this is given, and 360 degree. 2 pi is given, that is 22 by 7. And if pi is not given, you can take 22 by 7 or 3.14. Any value you can take. And r is what? R is 21 centimeter. So 0 0 cancel. 6 6 are 36. 2 3s are 6. 3 sevens are 21. What is left? Only 22 is left. So 22 centimeter. Again, units are very important. What is this? This is a length of arc. Okay. So very simple. So you should know the formula. If you don't know, just remember first formulas. Okay. Other aapko, if you don't know the calculation right up to here, you will get half mark again. Now we'll move to next question, that is question number 15. What is question number 15? If 12 solid spheres of same radii, 12 solid spheres of same radii are made by melting a solid metallic cylinder of base diameter 2 cm and height 16 cm, find the diameter of each sphere. Now, 12 solid spheres are made up of from the metallic cylinder. So, if one shape, we are melting one shape and we are, after remolding, we are making another shape, then both volumes will be equal. So, only that criteria we are applying here. 12 solid sphere. So, here are 12 solid sphere. We have solid sphere. Okay, we can make one just like one diagram. So, is equals to what? Cylinder. One side I have one cylinder. We'll make. First, we'll make diagram. Okay. So, I have this cylinder. Whose height is what? Height is 16 centimeter and diameter is 2 centimeter. This is your height, 16 centimeter. And if diameter is 2, radius is 1. Your diameter is 2 centimeter and radius of base is 1 centimeter. Divide by 2. Here I have 12 spheres. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we have 12 spheres is equals to, so volume of this 12 sphere is equals to volume of one cylinder. After melting this cylinder, we are getting 12 spheres. So if we'll melt one solid thing and we are making from that, so obvious their volumes will be equal. So we can say that volume of 12 into volume of sphere is equals to volume of cylinder. Okay, so just apply the formula. What is the formula for cylinder? Volume of cylinder is what? Pi r square h. So if r is the radius of cylinder, then r capital is the radius of sphere. Take different, okay, because we have to find diameter of sphere. So 12 into volume of sphere. Volume of sphere is what? 4 by 3 pi r cube. Now we'll substitute values. Pi cancel. 3 4s are 12. 4 4s are 16. R cube is what? R square. R square is 1. 1 square is 1 into height. Height is 16. Okay. So 16 centimeter is your height. So both are 16. 16 cancel. So R cube is 1. So R will be 1. Capital R. R is the radius. If your R is radius is 1, then what? We have to find the diameter of sphere. So diameter of sphere is what? Diameter of sphere is what? 2 times of radius, that is 2 centimeter. Got it? So this is your 15th question. Now it is given now 16th question. Find the probability of getting the doublet in a throw of pair of dice. We are given with 16th question now. Find the probability of getting doublet in a throw of pair of die. Now if we have one die and I am going to throw it twice. See, on one dice there are 6 faces. Okay, for one die. If I am going to throw 2 times, what I am getting? 36 outcomes. Okay. So whenever you are doing probability, there is one formula, that is, what is the probability? Probability is favorable cases, number of favorable cases upon total number of cases. Okay. So number of favorable cases we have to find. So first of all, we'll write total number of cases. Total number of cases is what? 36, because we are throwing dice twice. Now favorable cases is what? Doublet. Favorable cases. is what? Doublets. Getting the doublet in throw of pair of die. So doublet is what? 1 1, 2 2, 3 3. Same face. If I am throwing dice and I am getting one dice and same, I should get on other die. That is 1. If I am getting 2 on one, then 2 should be on the other. Like that, there will be 4 4 and then 5 on one, 5 on another, and then 6 on one and 6 on one. How many will be there? 1 2 3 4 5 6. So total number of favorable cases will be 6. So now you have to find the probability of getting doublet. So how you have to write? P of doublet of pair of die. You can see in short. Okay, so P of doublet of die is what? Favorable cases upon total number of cases. 6 by 36. So 1 by 6 is your probability. Okay, this is the first part of question number 16. Now come to the second question. That is second part, that is find the probability of getting a black queen. I have question that is find the probability of getting black queen when the card is thrown at random from well shuffled pack of 52 cards. So again we have pack of 52 cards, 16th question or part. We have pack of 52 cards. Always 52 cards are there. Okay, then we can say that total number of cases is what? 52. Whenever there is a talking about cards, the total number of cases always will be 52. Okay, so total number of cases 52. We have to find the probability of getting black queen. Black queen, that is black queen. Now I'll show you how. So there are 52 cards. Okay, so 13 13 13 and 13. 13 is of heart, 13 is of diamond, 13 is of spade, and 13 is of club. So in which 2 are of red, 13 plus 13 is black, and 2 means 13 plus 13 is red, and 13 and 13 is black. Means what? 13 cards from 1 to 10 and 3 face cards for each. So there are 4 queens in total. 4 queens in total. But out of 4, 2 is red and 2 is black. So we have to find black queen. So number of favorable cases is 2. There are 4 queens. 2 is black, 2 is red. 2 is black matlab. Black means what? Spade and club. Okay. So spade and club is 2. 2 black queen. So total favorable cases 2. Okay. So P of black queen, that is favorable cases upon total number of cases. 1 by 26. Okay. So this is your probability. So by this we finished our first section, that is 1 to 16 question, which are very simple. So I hope this type of questions may come. So children, please prepare your all formulas or properties. On that based property and formula based questions may come. So if you know, so please apply that formula and solve all the questions. So they are very simple question. All these questions are very simple. So try to solve all these questions. So you can get full marks in your first section, that is 16 questions. So 16 from this and 4 from case study. So 32 marks you can get from part A. So I hope you understood today's lecture, today's video. In case you feel any difficulty, please write in the comment box. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Please subscribe my channel. Okay, thank you so much.